So we are just a few days into the official start of summer, but Nick, you have a chance to look back and see how our spring compared to this time.
Yeah, and of course this is meteorological spring, which is something us meteorologists bring up a lot. It's sort of how we segment our seasons into full months, so it's easier to do comparisons like this. And the official numbers are in. It was a wetter than normal spring, barely. And this is when we're looking at March, April, and May's rain at Austin's Camp Mabry. The average rainfall over the last 30 years is 10.34 inches. And the rain we had this past spring, March, April, and May, totaled up is 10.49 inches. So technically speaking, we had an above average spring rainfall, but only wetter than normal by 0.15 of an inch. And certainly that last week of May that was very wet really helped us there. Here's the thing. Spring was very warm. It was a full 4 degrees above normal, and that's kind of a big deal when you stretch it out over roughly 90 days worth. Our average spring temperature, this is what it should be in a normal spring, 69.7. That factors in morning lows and afternoon highs. But instead, our average temperature was 73.7 degrees. And when we look back at the Austin area numbers that go back all the way to the late 1800s, that means that we were actually in the top spot, beating out the spring of 2011 for the hottest spring ever. And certainly our warming climate has a significant role in the heat that we experienced in the springtime. A full degree, tenth of a degree, I should say, warmer than the hottest spring ever previously, which is 2011. We all remember how 2011 turned out with 90 triple-digit days that summer. Our own meteorologist, Rich Siegel, dug deep into the temperatures and the rain that we had over the springtime. He put together a blog over the weekend all about spring 2025 recap, and you can read it under the weather and traffic section. Just click on weather blogs there. All right, what's happening outside now? We're watching the residuals of an outflow boundary from some morning storms that were north of us, and some of those scattered clouds are moving into our area. And it's just our next opportunity for rain, and we've got a lot of opportunities for rain over the coming days. In fact, those opportunities will only get higher as this upper level low from the Four Corners drifts into Texas as we get into later Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This upper level low just sitting on top of the state, generating enough lift to bring us opportunities for more rain and storms. Not until later in the day on Friday do we start to see it sneaking away to the north again as a drier but not completely dry pattern starts to set up. We'll also be watching some storms well to the west of us that are only just about bubbling up now. These have the potential to arrive in central Texas after midnight tonight. But before that, we could see some storms forming along this outflow boundary. These are the clouds left over from some of the storms that fired up north of us this morning. And this outflow boundary of cooling winds coming in from north to south can often provide enough convergence to give lift and generate additional storms. In fact, just over the last few minutes, we've seen some spotty showers forming in parts of Bastrop and Fayette counties. This could be the beginnings of more showers and storms forming as we head into the evening. Our high-resolution computer models keep the coverage fairly isolated. Generally, it's near and south of Austin. The farther north you are, the lower your evening rain chances are. But we think that that West Texas round of storms gets here after about 2 or 3 in the morning into the hill country, where it will likely be at its strongest and then weaken somewhat as it approaches the metro. Only about half of the area gets rain from this overnight and early Tuesday morning round of wet weather, but still there could be some strong storms, very heavy rain that comes with the overnight and morning round. Then the atmosphere tries to recover, and then later in the day on Tuesday, more showers and storms form late afternoon and into Tuesday evening. And then we get another round of showers and storms as we get late into Tuesday night into Wednesday. Now here's the thing, we don't want to take some of these computer models too far into the future, because how one round plays out is very much going to have an impact on the next round and the round after that. So the farther out we take these models, the more inaccurate they would be, because there would be so many things that could happen in the middle that could impact the next round. Still, think at least half of the area gets rain and storms before you wake up tomorrow morning. Overnight lows of 73. And then our day tomorrow, half of the area gets rain again, not just from the early morning round, but another round that develops later in the day and into tomorrow evening. Go with a high of 92 tomorrow. The severe weather risk, it's a 1 out of 5. Large hail, damaging wind would be the primary concerns should storms turn severe. We're actually a little more concerned about flash flooding this week because of some of the very slow motion of these storms, as well as very high rainfall rates. We could get some 2, 3, 4-inch amounts in a short amount of time. The hill country overnight into tomorrow and tomorrow night at a 2 out of 4 flash flooding threat. That drops to a 1 out of 4 from the Metro East. And there's more opportunity for rain and storms Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday for that matter. Those rain and storm chances drop off this weekend into early next week. The areas most likely to exceed 2 inches would be north of Austin into much of the hill country, slightly lower amounts south and east, but there'll be some localized higher totals that are just too tough to pinpoint where those would be here just yet. Here's a look at our first warning weather 7-day forecast. Those rainfall chances drop off into the weekend, and that should allow temperatures to bounce back from the 80s into the low 90s, mid 90s by Monday.